erotic frame of mind or a romantic frame of mind, all my other problems disappeared. And that it was such a fantastic high, because I was basically a sullen, miserable kid who didn't have a lot of friends, was not particularly popular. So I was kind of failing at life. And then when I'd get the endorphin rush that would come with a sexual or romantic obsession, all these problems would disappear. All my miseries would go. And so I loved getting high from falling in love. And I had this discerning woman who was my best friend's mother. She said, "Oh, look, you're just in love with being in love." And she was absolutely right. That the girl who's boy crazy, for example, she is just intoxicated with boys, because that feeling makes all her other problems go away. So therefore you get really imbalanced. So I discovered, certainly by my teens, that romantic and sexual obsessions would just take away all my miseries, all my problems, all my fears and anxieties would be assuaged by being in love. So therefore I would chase that which would remove all my problems. Who would not chase something that seems to remove all their problems? But as you would expect from someone as unbalanced as that, I've never been able to sustain a relationship for longer than a year.
Well, you have me beat. I've never been able to have any kind of long-term romantic relationship. Interestingly enough, though, I get along well with almost everyone, as long as that person is not a total ingrate. We'll just put it that way. On my end, it just winds up being a lack of interest. And when I said that I have no interest in romance, I think a lot of people have to be very careful not to confuse romance with sexual interest. They're two different things, and people confuse them often to disastrous effect. So, but anyway, yeah, there's something wrong with not being the kind of person who can't hold down a romantic relationship, in my view. I'm much more leery of someone who can't hold down a friendship, or someone who's estranged from virtually all of their family members, or perhaps all of their family members. That to me sends off all the warning signals, and that typically, from what I've seen, that typically means there are deep problems with an individual. But romance is hard to keep. I think it's probably fair to say it's easy to fall in love for most people, but staying in love, they just can't keep the good feelings which they had. I think that the West might be able to turn this crisis.
I think if you have the pessimistic view that it can't be turned around, that it's in a death spiral, you shouldn't say it publicly. You should send the women and the children and the servants out of the room before discussing such a thing. So I'd prefer to take the perspective that we can improve things. I like what Douglas Murray says in his book, The Strange Death of Europe. Having lost our religious beliefs, we've experimented with various ideological replacements, but they all come crashing down in the end, and our art reflects this despondency. It's given up that desire to connect to something transcendent. Popular literature is focused on hedonistic despondency, and there's this widespread feeling among elites that the story is simply run out, but maybe Western civilization can be born again.
I certainly hope that it is. I don't know how likely it is, but the resources are there. People just have to take advantage of them.